All right. Well, it's time for the Whatchu Spinnin Halloween Spectacular. We all three just finished watching House of a Thousand Corpses, a movie written and directed by Rob Zombie. He also did the music selection for it. Came out in 2003. One of my personal favorite movies, especially in the horror genre. I just think there's so much that went on in that movie that was, from like a production standpoint, like a filmography standpoint, there's just it's fucking great. But yeah, I've got some shit to say. What about y'all?
Yeah, it was fun rewatching that movie. I haven't seen it in a few years.
Yeah.
Definitely has lots of different throwbacks from like 70s horror genres.
Yeah.
Reminds me of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre mashup.
Yeah.
And just the way it was done, the production, the camera, the cinematography, the footage that they use is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had been years since I had seen that movie again. And I still remember some parts, but the filming of it's interesting. It's like a lot of like close pan shots, a lot of wide angle. There's a lot of usage of like, I don't know what it's called, but it's like when it's like negative, like the
It's like almost a thermal cam kind of
yeah,
look to it. Yeah.
It's like thermal. It's like kind of like, like the opposite of like the colors and stuff, and it's interesting. I don't know like how big the budget was when they were making this, but they definitely made the most out of it. Like
It was pretty tight. The budget was not that gracious from what I remember. And it took they finished the film in 2001, and no one would release it for him. Like, he showed it to...
Yeah, I remember seeing trailers for the movie and being like, waiting years for. I'm like, that trailer came out a long time ago. What the hell's going on?
Yeah, so he had already like started doing promos for it and stuff, and no studio would take it to release it. And then and like he was working with Universal, I think, because that was like
I think it had an NC-17 rating too when it first came out.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had to edit it more, if it like was actually a lot rawer than it was than the version we got,
Yeah. That was the thing that shelved it for so long, was that a lot of the companies that he was approaching to release it wanted him to cut so much out of it. And he was like, if I cut all of this out, it's gonna detract, it's gonna take away from the story. It's like it's not gonna tell that story as well. So yeah, he finished doing it in 2001. I think he actually like started writing it when he released Hellbilly Deluxe, my pick for next week. He started doing the movie, like writing the movie around that same time. And then in 2001 finished filming it and everything, and then it was shelved because people wanted to cut a bunch of shit. And then in 2003 Lionsgate Pictures reached out to him and they were like, hey, we've heard from some other studios that you have this film that you want to put out. We want it as is, basically, like with some things, basically. And so that is basically the full movie in its thing, and it did not do well when it came out.
Oh no, it did terrible.
It was a shit show at the box office. It did not do well. But then you give it like 5 years, and it's
a cult classic now.
It's a cult classic for horror fans, for Rob Zombie fans. Like that's heralded as like one of the best like budget horror movies of all time.
Dang, it's crazy too. At the time that I watched it, I didn't realize how like strong their cast was too.
Yeah,
they had like Rainn Wilson. They had a couple other like really big people that I'd seen in other movies. Like that police officer. He's
Walton Goggins.
Yeah, he's in a bunch of like
he's in the
Quentin
Shield,
Tarantino.
Yeah, he is in Tarantino movies.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Tarantino movies. Same thing with the I don't know.
Jerry, the one kid that gets scalped.
That guy too, yeah. That guy.
Is that Pollard or something? Is his name?
Something Pollard.
Yeah.
Michael or Matthew?
Mike Pollard, yeah.
Yeah, like the cast was pretty big too. Like I was like, dang, I forgot Dwight was in this. Like,
yeah,
it's fucking wild.
That was kind of what, like that, and my love for Rob Zombie is what steered me to this movie, because it was like right when me and my girlfriend started dating, I was looking, looking for shit for us to watch, and I was like, oh shit, like, I was showing her The Office, and, I was like, oh, well, I'll show you The Office. And then I was looking at Rainn Wilson's, like, filmography, and I was like, wait, he was in House of a Thousand Corpses? Like, blah, blah, blah. And then it took me, like, another 3 years to actually sit down and watch the movie. But it's fucking fantastic. And then it's also Sherry Moon, Zombie's first, like, big role. Because she was, before she started dating Rob Zombie, when White Zombie disbanded, she was going to be an MTV VJ and said, fuck that, I'm going to start dating Rob Zombie and be in his music videos and in his movies. And she made a hell of a career for herself doing that.
Yeah. Sure.
But I'm glad y'all like the movie. It's fucking killer.
It's hot as hell too.
Yeah, she's a fucking smoke show.
Yeah. Like we were saying when we were watching it, it's one of the few horror movies that you can quote.
Yes.
Multiple times, multiple different scenes. And like some of the iconic characters, Captain Spaulding for me being the most iconic in the whole movie. I mean, he just alone, it's just amazing to watch him.
Yeah, and then, you get, like, just speaking on the quotable thing, Matt, I don't know how many times you and I have said to each other, I like to get fucked up and do fucked up shit. Like, it is so quotable. And, like, when they're going into, like, the murder ride and it's a view of Spaulding, but they did the split screen, like, mirrored thing. Yeah. Just, like, the weird little nuances and, like, little tiny shit that they pulled off that's, like, unless you're trying to, if you're just watching it for the story, that's great. It's a good ass story for a horror movie. But just like that weird little cinematography shit that they did, and like the editing is so nice. And like you were talking about that negative thermal camera, when they peel that's filter off and it like goes from top to bottom to where like the actual color of the scene comes in. It's
it's like very simple. Like the way that they were filming it and the way that it was produced, but it's like, it's good though. Like it's good. It's making the most out of something simple.
Yeah.
Like it really is putting it to the max, and even the way that like it pans out in the shot, like in that like where they like get the sheriff and like it's panning out, and then it takes like 10-15 seconds and it kind of lets you take in the whole like scope of the area. Like it's really simple. It's not like over the top, like big old landscapes and it's like mountains and everything. Like it's just something simple, but it works.
Yeah, and the simplicity of it really drives home the story. It's like there's nothing else that you need to be focusing on. It's this. And when they did that Skycam angle of Otis with Walton Goggins' character, that scene is fucking dramatic because they've got the guy, like the dad of the one chick there, just sees his daughter like all fucking mechanical animals out, and so that scene is just hella dramatic where Otis is like, yeah, I got you, bitch, and it does that 10 to 15 seconds. Your heart is just like, is he gonna
It's a long pause. It's longer than 15 seconds. It felt like 30
I was
almost.
Like, was the movie, was it skipping? Like,
no.
Was it paused?
And I remember that scene because it took so long. Wow, I was like, and I remember watching it originally. I was like, Jesus, this is tense.
It is.
For a minute.
But it really, they pull it off so well because it does make you be like, are they going to spare him? Is he going to, like, join the cult?
Join the family.
Yeah, is he going to join the family? They're going to have, like, some crooked cop. Like,
that being said, each actor played their role great. Like as far as the family members go, they each kind of did their own thing. Like, you can see it, even as subtle as some of the characters were, and that not a lot of them had a lot of screen time, but when they did, they killed it for sure.
Yeah.
Like even the brother with the tow truck, RJ or whatever his name was,
Rufus,
he fucking did great. The grandpa is one of the funniest parts of the whole movie. His weird stand-up routine he does before, where he just keeps flipping everybody off. It's just so good.
It's good.
It's so good.
I liked. It was like creepy at some points, and I forgot how creepy it was.
It gets
like like when they're like underground and like they're like with the doctor and shit, and then you see that dude come out. He's got like the weird mask, and he's got like that. Whatever the fuck that like goo was that came.
I
out
know.
of
It's like you got boogers come out your mouth.
Yeah, it's like buggers coming.
He had a really bad cold, apparently.
Right pre-COVID, so
yeah.
I'm trying to think of my favorite scenes in the movie that I had, and I feel like that intro scene in Captain Spaulding's
That is
gas station just sets the tone for the whole movie. It's so like tense and gritty and like what the fuck's gonna happen, and then it happens and you're like, okay.
And most of all, fuck you.
Right.
Fucking, he just keeps talking shit and everything. I think that it's hard for me to pick between that and the first scene with Otis when he has the 3 cheerleaders tied up, and he's like, how could I have such conventional stock? And he's just going on this fucking monologue. It's like I have watched that. Like there's a clip of it just on YouTube, just that scene, and I've watched it so many times just because that monologue is so intense and creepy.
There's a few of those throughout the movie that he does, specifically Otis does, that are just great.
Like
great
with
writing.
Bill, when she asks like, "Where's Bill?" And he's like, "Oh, Bill." Bill's been a great help to me.
Right.
And then he pulls the curtain back and it's fucking Fish Boy. Like, there's just so many little things that it's like hard to pick your favorite. Like literally, like you said, that first opening scene is one of my favorites, and then the scene toward the end with Baby in the graveyard. And she's stabbing the shit out of that bitch. 2 of my favorite scenes, and it's like, dude, there's so much more in between that even that it's just killer.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been our recap of House of 1,000 Corpses, directed and written by Rob Zombie. Go ahead and check that out if you can. It's the best $4 rental on Amazon Prime you'll ever do. That's the only place I know where to watch it right now. I've got it on DVD. But this has been the Halloween Spectacular of Whatchu Spinnin. We'll catch you next week for episode 31.